Aloha, y'all. It is Tears Day, Tuesday, ruled by Tyr, named after Tyr, really, ruled by Mars. The Mars equivalent of the Nordic pantheon. The astrology is as follows. The sun is at 22 degrees Aries. Moon is at 28 degrees 44 minutes Leo. Mercury's at 2 degrees 50 minutes Taurus. Mercury, right? Venus is at 7 degrees Pisces. Mars is at 28 degrees Aquarius. Jupiter's at 23 degrees 56 minutes Pisces. Saturn's at 23 degrees Aquarius. Uranus is at 13 degrees Taurus. Neptune's at 23 degrees 58 minutes Pisces. Pluto's at 28 degrees Capricorn, and the North Node is retrograding in 22 degrees Taurus. It is a Svadhisthana chakra day. This is your sacral chakra. It's in your lower abdomen, below your belly button. Not at your belly button, but below it about like that much. And keywords are happiness, confidence, and resourcefulness. Positive aspects include sociability, creativity, joyousness, and independence. Negative aspects are withdrawn, destructive, despondent, and over-dependent. The mantra is VAM, so you do VAM if you're going to do this, in the key of D, and I highly suggest one does this. I do it every morning from 5 to 5:30, basically. Spiritual activities are meditation, celibacy, and fasting. Essential oils are jasmine, neroli, and orange blossom. The plant is jasmine, metal is tin, element is water. The musical note is D. Crystals are tiger's eye, carnelian, and onyx, and the soul lesson is peace and wisdom. So you get in the waters of your creativity in that generative place and let loose those creative powers. Hopefully you get really creative today on this Tears Day, actionable creation. So let's go ahead and pull some cards. Hopefully you all are doing all right. Last night there was this like truck that I guess was broken down, and I didn't really hear it at some point, like a 16-wheeler. It was trying to get towed, and about like 200 yards away, 100 yards away, like 150, 200 yards away. And I hear all this chugging, and I come down to go to the bathroom or shower after I worked out or whatever I was doing, and there was this thick oil, I guess burnt oil or burnt chemical residue in the air, and it took a minute to clear out. So I was like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. What up, baby? So, Suze, aloha. So, let's pull a card. I'm just talking about what happened most recently in my consciousness. Some gnarly dreams, but yes, Jupiter is conjunct Neptune, so that's not terribly surprising. What was to pop today? We've got the 10 of Cups. All right. So, like I was saying, Jupiter in Pisces is conjunct Neptune. Venus is in Pisces, so Cups action isn't terribly shocking. But this is one of the more benevolent cards, if you want to put it that way, in the deck. Cups are water, so if you're a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, naturally you're going to resonate with this suit, the Cups. It's about emotionality, creativity, sexuality, the feels, right? All the feels, all the emotions. So, 10 of Cups is as follows. Crafting a legacy with North Node in Taurus, Mercury now in Taurus. Crafting your legacy with emotional awareness, your selfhood. Moon in Leo and Aries Sun. Well, who am I and how have I stood and how is that going to stand in time? Taurus North Node. That's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Crafting a legacy, ultimate contentedness, creating long-lasting bonds with those you call family. The 10 of Cups. I experienced the joy of loving connection. There is something exquisite and miraculous about journeying with fellow travelers on this road called life. We are not alone. Loneliness is a great deprivation, and it's becoming more prevalent in the face of divorce, increasing mobility, and an aging population. The people in our lives offer up reflections of ourselves. Like some great fractal, different facets of ourselves are revealed. Contrasting edges of our character flame into existence with another personality, another energy, life-giving and sustaining. When we are alone, our needs remain unseen and unheard, our stories unshared. We lose ourselves in the vastness of thoughts and the emptiness of four walls. Only now is loneliness coming out and being seen to be the great premature killer that it is. And so it is that we can be incredibly thankful for all the people who show up in our lives, service providers, neighbors, colleagues, community members, friends, and if you have been so blessed, the families that we have. This was one of the most poignant contrasts we found in Bali, and this is David D'Angelo speaking first person, not myself. One of the most poignant contrasts we found in Bali, with little room for loneliness when old and young live all together in extended family compounds. Besides the all year round warm weather and the nature of their spiritual traditions encouraging meeting outdoors, we see a family in the card with a bejeweled circle of cups which seem to burst with rainbow light, the full spectrum of color available to them. Cups, as we know, represent the element of water, and that is the sacral chakra today as well, right? The water element, the creative waters. So a whole lot of watery juices flowing right now. Visible light is the only part of the electromagnetic spectrum that can refract in water. This led to the evolution of the first appearance of eyes millions of years ago in the vast oceans of Earth. A mother, father, and their daughter who look set to make her mark in the world are being showered by a gentle golden light from the cups above. The family cat completes the scene, communicating embodied sensuality and independence, a soul just happy to chill in the sun. The Ten of Cups invites you to take time to connect with special people in your life, those you love and have traveled with for some time. Acknowledge their presence in your life with fresh eyes. Experience their beauty, their courage and fortitude, their wisdom. Feeling into and through their stories to fathom their radiance. Everyone around us is a gift, is a reflection. Everyone around us is a teacher, showing us where we get caught in the web of judgments and self-righteousness, of separation and ignorance. If we would only give ourselves more moments to experience first the joy of loving connection with ourselves, and then turn to the other to give love and appreciate the miracle of their existence. The family that birthed and grew you and the family you intend to create for yourself are realms of incredible possibility when you choose to let them guide you to become the best version of yourself. Note in Taurus, right? We're trying to move to the most value of our realities. And with the moon in the last minutes and degrees of Leo, this is really about coming into your heart in a very real way and being authentic from a loving heart space. To love and enjoy your family, you must first accept them as they are. Accept yourself as you are, and then invent ways to touch and be touched by their lives. Let old ancestral patterns fall away. Right? South Node in Scorpio. Let the past be the past and let it fall away. Pick up the arrows of judgment and transform them into flowers of love, right? Arrows of judgment, worst case scenario, Saturn in Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius, right? Aries Sun, where we're really kind of acting out of wounds and harshness and actionability, right? Where it's like, oh, you hurt me, I'm going to kill you, kind of energy. We want to transform that into love, Leo Moon. Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces, Venus in Pisces. Pick up the arrows of judgment and transform them into flowers of love, gifting them to yourself, your family, and the world. So the Ten of Cups, I experience the joy of loving connection, crafting a legacy, ultimate contentedness, creating lasting bonds with those you call family. So we have the ability today to really tap into the power of creativity, Svadhisthana chakra, right? The power of the water of creativity, and let that cup overfloweth onto others. I'm having a lot of my past come up and haunt me in a kind of way. Nothing too crazy, don't worry. But it's made me realize how much I really do value and appreciate my fiance, who's put up with quite a bit. She's come from a place of maturity. She's a little older than me. She's come from a place of maturity, and she's doing really well dealing with my growth. So I appreciate her. And then, I just talked to my dad last night. I was actually sitting in my hammock, and I thought an animal shat on me, and it was not an animal that shat on me. It was a gecko that fell on my lens. There was a family of geckos kind of doing their thing. You might hear my, not my roommate, but the guy who uses this kitchen and the bathroom in the next couple of minutes, because he's coming in now. So that's what I might be semi-distracted by. But in any event, the family of geckos laid it on my lens. I was like, holy shit, that's great, it's hilarious. And what we're doing today is really trying to open, especially with the Moon and Leo, trying to open our hearts creatively, right? Coming from a place of creativity, coming from a place of the waters that flow, and letting our, once we're filled, we can fill others, and others fill us. It's this kind of Ouroboros feedback loop, right? So let's tap into that loving kindness and realize that it's not just about your blood family. It's like the people you find yourself in life with at any given moment are essentially, not just like strangers on the bus kind of thing necessarily, but the people you're living with, the people that are coming into contact with you more regularly are your family, so to speak. So let's go ahead and get a clarifying card. Hopefully y'all are doing all right out there. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. We got a whole lot of good energy. Not that cards are cards, you know. Some are differently polarized and some are differently aspected, kind of like astrology. There's not good and bad astrology. It's just different kind of flavors. But the Ten of Cups is like the completion of emotionality, right? And the Nine of Pentacles is about really getting towards the end of an accomplishment materially. And I think now with the North Node in Taurus, with Pluto in Capricorn, with Uranus in Taurus really transforming the material world we have around us, and with Mercury in Taurus now, we need to be tapping into the value of those things that we love and ultimately coming into an appreciation of how to prosper for those around us, right? We want to be the strongest, most, you know, financially stable, the most healthy in body and mind, in order that we can actually come into a place with love and overflowing for those around us that we love. So the Nine of Pentacles is as follows. Pentacles, if you don't know, are Earth. So if you're a Taurus, where Mercury and the North Node are now, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, this is naturally your suit. And here we go. Nine of Pentacles. I am in charge of my destiny. Nine of Pentacles, you are in charge of your destiny and what you believe you deserve. Know your gifts and accept them. The time is now to manifest your dreams in this world. So that's really one of the things that we're trying to do with this North Node in Taurus, right? Mercury now in Taurus. We're trying to manifest in the practical, in the real, the dreams of our heart, Leo Moon. And we have the ability to do that today with the Svadhisthana chakra, especially on this kind of Tears Day. We have this energy of actionability. It's like, you know, reach out to someone in your family or your friend circle or whatever and tell them how much you appreciate them and try to show them physically through a gift, through time, you know, these are material things. Try to show them how much they mean to you, right? And this is about you creating your destiny. The people that you find around you, the family that you find around you, the love and, sorry, I'm a little distracted. Love and, what's the word? Blessings, really, ultimately, that you find in the world. The cat, right? That's a nice little guardian of your destiny that you've helped choose. And it's all obviously a part of your creative kind of dreaming, Svadhisthana chakra of the Tao for you at that time. So really positive energy today, right? We're overflowing with emotional abundance and we have the ability to really cash in on that and polish our diamonds and rubies, so to speak. Let's go ahead and get an animal oracle card. I don't have a gecko in this deck. I wish I did, because then I'd be like, oh yeah, gecko. Falling on my glasses. We got the meerkat though. Like Timon and Pumbaa. I guess this would be Timon. Responsibility. Responsibility, number 16. And we got to realize that just because we're creative, right? Just because we're sexual, just because we have this generative process physically, in order to get the most out of that, right? The most love, the most kind of loving kindness, the most emotionality, the most, not bang for buck, but like, you know, the most juice out of the grapes, so to speak. We really got to invest in ourselves and others and be stewards of the things we've been given, whether it's skills, it's money, career, whatever. Like, you got to take it responsibly and polish it, but then it kind of feedback loops into a beautiful thing. But that takes what? Responsibility. Saturn in Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius. Your actions have to be responsible. You can't just dilly-dally. You'll find yourself, I mean, I'm 37 almost, I'm like, holy shit, time flew, and where's all the time and the money and all that stuff? Not that that really fucking matters, but it was never really my focus. Like, I'm not career-minded, but my God, time doth fly. So, responsibility. What up, Teresa? Meerkat, responsibility on page 66. Do you take responsibility seriously, right? And the only way you're going to have a legacy, right, crafting your legacy, it said, the only way you're going to have a family physically is if you actually take responsibility and own up to what you have in the world physically. Your body, your finances, your household, that kind of stuff, right? So do you take responsibility seriously, or is it easier to blame others or outside influences? There should be a balance between responsibility for others and yourself. Someone may not be honoring their word, South Node in Scorpio, right? Someone might be deceptive and not holding up their end of the bargain. Developing altruism is important, so opening your heart and being kind of kind, right? This altruistic kind of Ten of Cups energy. What with your finances, with your things, right? So if you've got a car and you see someone on the side of the road, give them a ride, I guess. But then everyone's been programmed by Jim Morrison. It's like there's a hitchhiker on the road. And he's going to kill your family. Sweet family will die, and killer on the road kind of stuff. So you got to use your discernment. But anyway, developing altruism is important. Teaching others the skills you have mastered is a highly honorable act, right? So crafting your legacy, right? Ten of Cups is the idea, and how having emotional fulfillment, right? But really, the Nine of Pentacles is the clarifier, saying like what you bring into this world creatively, Svadhisthana Chakra day, what you bring into this world creatively is your birthing responsibility. No one else is going to sing your song. No one else is going to do your dance. You're here to kind of shine as you are, but then it's not just about being a bright, pretty, flashy thing. Leo Moon wants us to be kind of Aries Sun and Leo Moon at worst is like kind of narcissistic, self-absorbed, where it's like, this is all about my actions and I want to do what I want, and look at me, aren't I pretty, and I feel good and I want to do this. North Node in Taurus, kind of shadow of this is Mercury in Taurus is like, I want to do what makes me feel comfortable, right? And sometimes we got to stretch ourselves, and that means we're taking responsibility, not necessarily always the easy route. So the mythos. The Bantu tribe of Africa tell of how the meerkats were responsible for assigning color to the animals around them. The meerkats had the power to give color and camouflage to all creatures that wanted it, but to get a coat of color, the animal had to kill a buck eland and bring it whole to the meerkat community. The hyena thought he would love a coat of color and killed a buck. As he was dragging it to the meerkats, he was overcome by the delicious smell of the meat and couldn't resist eating all but the bones. The hyena gave the meerkats the bones and expected to receive a new coat, right? He kind of shortchanged them, in a sense, right? The meerkats painted his body, but in ugly shapes and colors, punishing the hyena for his disrespect. So, I'm not going to go as far as saying, how you look is your karma. That's kind of what this is implying a little. But the way we operate in the world, Nine of Pentacles is the clarifier, the blessings that come to us come a little from the spirit in which we're giving, right? And maybe what we look like or how we operate in this lifetime does have to do with the creative possibilities that we did in the other lifetimes if you're on that trip. So the meerkats paint, the whole point is like these meerkats are going to paint your body, and basically, let's make sure of that. Basically, yeah, like this hyena was like, I'm going to eat the goods and give them the scraps, and this is what happens. The meerkats painted his body in ugly shapes and colors, punishing the hyena for his disrespect. The chief meerkat told him, if anyone does not keep his word with me, I will do the same for him. The leopard also wanted a colored coat and went out to kill an eland. The buck was a fine one, and the leopard brought it to the meerkats unskinned and untouched. Lay down, said the chief meerkat, and he and the other meerkats painted the leopard beautifully. He who keeps his word with me, I will do the same for him, right? So there's this sense of like congeniality, respect, right? Overflowing emotional kind of saturation of positive benefit in the material world. So he honored, his legacy was created, this leopard, right? It's a beautiful leopard now and not the hyena so much because they kept their word. Word is bond, right? And this is all a creative act on the part of the meerkats. They're kind of painting and contouring the body to look beautiful or ugly or whatever. So the animal. There are very few people who aren't enraptured by the cuteness of a community of meerkats and their antics, for they are one of the most entertaining of animals to observe. Meerkats belong to the mongoose family, and various species are found in the desert areas of Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and Angola. They have binocular or front-facing vision, which is extremely beneficial, and they have highly mobile hands with claws for digging, for prey, and burrows. They have a striped coat on the backside and a unique section of hairlessness on the undersides that reveals their black skin. They stand up on their muscular hind legs to expose this patch to the sun to warm them when it becomes cold. Turn the page. Meerkats live in highly social colonies in which they demonstrate altruistic behaviors such as minding each other's babies. Teaching young meerkats hunting and survival skills, of course, the very famous upright sentry behavior of a meerkat acting as a guard or watcher to warn others of danger. The sentry often finds the highest position to oversee their environment, such as rocks or termite mounds, but this can also include humans. There are meerkat communities that are habituated to people and who do climb humans occasionally for a better vantage point, right? So it's okay to take advantage of your environment a little. I mean, with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like utilize what you have, right? Use your creativity, standing on people, standing on those around you, the community. See how you're embedded in this kind of enmeshment of this flower of life. It's kind of a Metatron's cube type situation. But it's this flower of life. You're a node in the axis of life. You're in the circle of life, right? Timon and Pumbaa. It's Lion King style. And that includes immediate people in your surroundings, but also the people in your city, the people in your constituency, the people in your nation, earthlings, all of us carbon-based life forms on the spinning rock. And we want to be responsible and creative, right? Responsible and creative, Meerkat and Svadhisthana chakra, with the power of life that we've been given. Because one day we're going to look back on it and say, wow, I was really part of that shit. And what did I do with what I was given? You know, we're given blessings to be a blessing. You're not given a family and in attractiveness or eloquence or financial wealth or whatever just to hoard it or just to brag about it. You're there to like build each other up with it and kind of overflow with your quality, right? Knight of Pentacles, your value. So you can really craft your legacy and shape your destiny, but it takes responsibility to do that. It doesn't just happen, right? I'm a pretty gifted musician, but it's like nothing's going to happen with that unless I get out there and do something with it, right? I actually didn't always do live cards and stuff. This is, you know, past couple years I did this, and it's a lot of fun for me, but I wouldn't have realized that if I hadn't kind of stepped up into it, right? So we have this power of creativity. You're probably going to hear cooking sounds and stuff because this guy is cooking around me. But we have this power of creativity overflowing our cups, but we have to take responsibility to polish that diamond and craft our legacy and destiny. The past, where we are now, and the future. You know, what got us here, what are we going to be remembered for, how are we being in the present moment, and then what are we doing in the future. So I didn't finish though. Kind of getting ahead of myself. So, they get on people to get better vantage points, right? The magic. Meerkat magic is all about altruism and responsibility, which is really what it means to be in a family, like in a healthy way. Like that's you're kind and working with others, but at the same time, you're being responsible. You're pulling your weight. You're doing the chores, whatever, like that, right? Paying the bills. Such small but fierce creatures watch out for each other and work as a community. Mars in Aquarius, right? Their actions are in community, and their Saturn, their work is in community. To educate and protect. Call upon the energy and magic of meerkats when you need help with yourself or someone else to hold their word or to fulfill their responsibilities. Heard. Meerkat energy is also valuable in facilitating teams in difficult conditions. And with the South Node in Scorpio right now, we're all kind of dealing with the past traumas. We need to be stepping up into the responsibility and leaning into something greater than ourselves in order that we really kind of shine like a crazy diamond, like that we are, right? We're all creative, and you could be Jeeves. I don't know if it's Jeeves. I remember Ask Jeeves is a search engine, but the butler. I'm totally Wilfred. I forget his name. Batman's butler. He was being creative in service in that capacity, right? It wasn't so much he was the superhero. Alfred was his name. Alfred wasn't Batman, right? But he was still being powerfully creative and participating at a highly polished level in the reality of the team and the family of that situation, right? He was being responsible. Just like Batman was responsible for Gotham. Why? Because he was traumatized, South Node in Scorpio, from the place of his family being murdered, right? And he said, I'm going to take my wealth, my prosperity, and really kind of give back to Gotham. It's strange that I'm coming up with all this Batman analogies, but whatever. So, yeah, exactly, Alfred. So, we have responsibilities as creative beings. It doesn't mean just like sit there and, you know, masturbate with your creativity. It means pay it forward with your creativity and your skills, your blessings, right? So the magic, it's all about altruism and responsibility. Such small but fierce creatures watch out for each other and work as a community to educate and protect. Call upon the energy and magic of meerkats when you need help with yourself or someone else to hold their word or fulfill their responsibilities. Meerkat energy is also valuable in facilitating teams in difficult conditions. I mean, the thought that came to my mind really quick, and some people might say, my guides just told me, but you know, I'm a Gemini, so it's like, I just thought this. In the film with Kevin Bacon, it's a pretty good film actually, River Wild, if you've never seen it, check it out. She has to get them, you know, whether you're the friend or enemy, family, whether you're family and you're doing this to survive and get work through the river or whatever, or you're a bandit on the run trying to be responsible for the things you've stolen, the goods you're trying to cash out on, the $1 million or whatever. you've got to row in this boat down the waterfalls or we're not going to make it, right? So that's the responsibility. That's tapping into a collective power and balance that ultimately served for their creative vitality, right? The waters of the River Wild. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The waters, we're always flowing down the waters, but we got to do it. There's better and worse ways to do it. More responsible, we're being called to, especially with Saturn and Aquarius, which is co-ruled by Saturn and Uranus, to be tapping in Uranus and Taurus in a revolutionary way with our power and responsibility. So, symbology, standing up on top of rocks, altruism and teaching, statuses of least concern. There's a shit ton of meerkats. They're kind of like gophers of the African plains or whatever. But they live in big families, right? And they're responsible for each other, and they're pretty, they keep their shit together. So they're being responsible for what they have. Their family, their housing. Sorry, I just realized how in zone I get and how easily that can be shaken. So let's go ahead and get an I Ching card, number 59. If you don't know about the I Ching, it's a ancient Chinese divination system. Oh man, with the moon Leo, I gotta bite my tongue. So 59 is as follows. Disillusion. Dissolution here does not mean destruction, but rather a diminishing of alienating and egotistic feelings and motives. Like I just said, oh my gosh, I gotta bite my tongue, Leo moon. Leo can be very, like I said, egotistical, and Aries sun, Leo moon, very self-motivated. I want to do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm doing it for me, I feel like this is comfortable and for my best, or I'm gonna shine, or kick ass, or whatever. And sometimes we gotta kind of temper that down and be part of the crew, right? The Brady Bunch. If every one of those kids was a Marsha, diva style, it wouldn't work very well. They had to have Bobby and all these people. I don't really remember the Brady Bunch well because it was kind of before my time, but nonetheless, it's saying dissolution here does not mean destruction, but rather a diminishing of alienating and egotistic feelings and motives. This sign promises a phase of having a favorable effect upon relationships. Oh, I'll cash that in if I can. Unity is strengthened as burdensome feelings and experiences are now worked through, and your energy is free for positive and constructive purposes. But everyone who's involved must make a contribution. God, can you make this shit up? Not necessarily. I mean, this is why I pull cards. We've all got responsibilities. You can't just slack, right? So in order for the ship to work, in order for the sail of the ship to work, we've all got to pitch in. I mean, I'm not a communist, but it's like to your ability, like work, right? Like make it work. So the dad has his responsibilities, the mom has her responsibilities, the daughter has her responsibilities, the cat has her its responsibilities. It's a creative dream that we're in, so we have to help create and manifest that dream. But it's also, you know, as Albert Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. So it's a dream, but it feels fucking real. So while you're in the video game, you got to rack up points and try to beat the boss or whatever the video game's objectives are, right? And you're kind of in this thing with yourself and others. It's a both and. It's a multiplayer kind of multiplayer platform gaming. If you've ever seen Ready Player One, that's kind of what life is, basically. So, but everyone who is involved must make a contribution, right? That kind of speaks for itself. Disappointments suffered may be forgotten at last, and a new start can be made, right? North Node in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. We could revolution. I mean, we might be, you know, have lost a relationship or lost our jobs, gone broke. I just saw that crypto dropped a shit ton, so I know some people are freaking out about that. Not a shit ton, but like, you know, I lost $400 or something, and I'm like, oh, great, that was a plane ticket somewhere. It's pretty volatile, but the point is, we got to be polishing what we have, right? And disappointments and things that are being dropped. Oops, I'm holding the wrong card. Disappointments and things that are kind of like dust in the wind, man. You know, you're not your career. It's like Fight Club. You're not your career. You're not your bank account. You're not your body even. You're not the clothes you wear. So enjoy them while they last, but like, you know, easy come, easy go. It doesn't help at all to continue raising acknowledged mistakes. So, I mean, and it's tricky because you don't want to guilt somebody into like, oh my God, you could do better. Oh my God, you could do better. You fucked up. But at the same time, at some point, that's just like kicking a dead horse or whatever. So you don't want to just continue raising acknowledged mistakes. If a person is actually repentant and acknowledging their kind of sin means missing the mark. So it's like if someone's fucked up, and they're like, oh my God, I really mean I'm sorry, and they don't repeat that behavior, then just constantly bringing it up doesn't really help, right? You ought to show goodwill now. This provides you with genuine chance to break from the past to make a successful new start. So we have the ability to really start new things, but we've got to kind of let the past float up like the ashes. There's a really beautiful song actually by Ben Folds 5 called Smoke. This kind of looks like smoke. And it's like, everything we do is smoke. You think your memories and your life around you is, and it's kind of a nihilistic Zen Buddhist kind of take on things, but it's like everything's transient and nothing lasts, and the stories we tell are going to burn up and become smoke, and everything you own is going to disappear one day. You can't take it with you, kind of thing. So we're going to need to be responsible with our love, with our emotionality, with our belongings, with our desire for success, and ultimately coming from a place of creativity. We have a fire in the water. It's hot water in a sense, with Aries Sun, with Moon and Leo, where we can really tap into a burning desire, a creativity in us that ultimately should be geared towards the collective and how you want to leave your mark beyond your selfhood. You're a self in a greater vehicle, right? You've got contributions to make. You've got responsibilities to give up into the, Pink Floyd has a line from Have a Cigar, where it's like, it could be made into a monster, Frankenstein monster. It could be made into a monster if we all put together as a team, right? But even those efforts of Rome, even all the people on the battlefield that died for Rome's glory or whatever, up in smoke. Where's Rome now? It's not a superpower the same way, right? World War II, we thought we had to stop Hitler and stuff. It's like, well, looks like the World Health Organization and fucking G7 summits are just as Nazi-like as any, fascist state takeover could have been. So it's all up in smoke. And really, just be grateful. This is about being grateful for what we have, and knowing that what we have is what we've earned, I guess you could say. We've taken responsibility, and you are your karma. That's what karma is. It's a reaction to your past events. You make, there's a spectrum of choices from the worst possible choice to the best possible choice, and there's almost a multiverse of infinite potentials within that binary, and we are the accumulation of our choices. But even that goes up in smoke at some point. So let's get one more card, a crystal card, and you can quantumly entangle with this. That's the nature of the Tao that we're in, where there's a fly buzzing here. Sorry. There is a fly buzzing. I said that, and that's not what I was trying to say. The nature of quantum entanglement is that, you're kind of spooky distance interrelated with everything at some level. So you don't have to own honey calcite, but here it is. And if you do, plus 10 points. Honey calcite, what it is, a honey-hued mineral on a mission to turn the bewildered and bumbling into super-driven worker bees, right? So sometimes we have to kind of, like we're bumbling, like many body parts, dead people, whatever, we'll put together, reassembled, and it's for a creative glory. But you've got responsibilities here, right? So you can't just kind of sit around and twiddle your thumbs and hope for the best. So when you're to turn your bewildered, kind of Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces is this kind of like daydreamy, like, oh my gosh, I don't know exactly what's going on. Bumbling kind of vibes into a super driven worker bee, right? Saturn in Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius, like make the job work, engineer it. Bees are crazy engineers. And then Aries, Sun, and Mercury in Taurus, North Node in Taurus is like, you've got the fire in your individual self to make your dreams and the dreams of others come true. Why are you sitting around not doing that? Excuses are kind of lame at some point. Who needs it? Anyone with a job to do, right? We keep hearing this, work, busy as a bee, all this shit. It's like, everyone's got their role. Take your responsibility, don't fuck around. That's what being in a group or collective is all about. You have an individual kind of, design, but you're part of a grander design. And like a tire is a tire in a car, the front left tire, it's an individual thing. But if the front left tire is not responding to the four-wheel drive, or it's popped or whatever, the whole fucking system doesn't work very well. So we need to kind of pull our weight. We need to know that even our pulling of the weight is ephemeral in a sense, but that's still our responsibility of the dream. In the book of Ecclesiastes, which is in the Bible, it's very Zen Buddhist. It's like, it's all meaningless. Vanity is all vanity. It's like meaninglessness is pointless, but that doesn't mean don't try, right? So anyone with a job to do, the brilliant but lazy. So if you're just sitting around and get a lot of ideas but you're not doing anything with it, like that's this. And any Taurus, and now that Mercury and the North Node and Uranus are in Taurus, this is kind of electrifying us to get the job done, add value, add beauty, right? That's what we're here to do. Where to put it? Instead of banging your forehead repeatedly on your desk, try a gentle kiss of honey calcite there instead, right? So don't just like go crazy. Saturn in Aquarius might at worst be something to the degree where you're just like, you know, freaking out that you haven't built your X-Men team and oh my god, I'm so far behind. Instead of hitting your head over and over and over about like that, move forward, make it work. Don't just bitch, right? When to use it? When the barriers to abundance feel too big to power through, right? When the abundance, the 10 of Cups is the card. When the clarifier, the 9 of Pentacles, when that abundance feels like it's just too far away and it's just smoke on the horizon and we can't take responsibility. When we're like, oh, it's that fault. Oh, this person's fault. Oh, this situation happened and I can't. When you're not taking responsibility, you have to realize everything that you're witnessing at any point in time is your creative participation. I mean, I don't know how far it goes at the God level, but you're manifesting your reality. So when barriers to abundance feel too big and too big to power through, when it's time to stop waiting your turn and stop waiting until tomorrow. So right, just twiddling your thumbs like saying, one day my prince will come, or one day I'll figure it out, or whatever. It's like, no, time is ticking by. I mean, no one wants to hear this, right? But like, you're only gonna get the blessings of a big family and money and a house of your own and all this shit if you put in the work. 9 of Pentacles, if you put in the work and take responsibility. Ultimately, those things don't matter, but they're creative reflection. They're a reflection of the creativity and the energy of your power of creativity at any given moment and through time, right? So it's like, you know, the belongings you have are a reflection of what you valued over time. The investments you make are where you put your money over time. The people that you have, you know, husbands, wives, kids, whatever, are your creative progeny over time, right? It's a responsibility. So when it's time to stop waiting your turn and stop waiting until tomorrow, picture yourself triumphant on the other side of whatever stands in your way and call on honey calcite to kick in the door. It says break through your limits. And I think that's the responsible thing to do right now, right? Sometimes the responsible thing to do is take a chill pill, and the shadow of Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Venus and Pisces is that we just want to kind of like smoke some weed and watch the clouds go by and it's like, it'll all work out. And it's like, nah, you only get here to this emotional satisfaction if you polish your stones and go to the market and sell them. You take responsibility. Ultimately, it doesn't fucking matter. But if you want a more enjoyable ride, a more, you know, luxurious and bountiful ride with emotional saturation and fulfillment and creative fulfillment. Like as a musician, I'm like, oh, I've got all these ideas, but I never put them down. It's like, that's my fault. I can't blame anybody else, right? I've got to break through my limits and take responsibility, my self-defeatist kind of lazy habits or whatever, and break through, kick in the door with honey calcite, break through those limits. So I think that you kind of get the gist of the day, right? We're a part of a bigger thing than ourselves. It actually, wherever you find yourself, you're part of a web of being that's, you know, whether it's the animals, the people, or the economies, or whatever you're around, you're a part of something bigger than yourself, but you have to emotionally engage with it. And if you, and you have to do that at your highest levels, right? Take responsibility. As somebody who's been on food stamps for many years, as somebody who's been, you know, kind of like floating through life, I'm even kicking in the door and trying to take back my power, breaking through my own limits, because I want more. I want more, the highest level of satisfaction. I know it doesn't fucking matter in the end at some level, but we're here to be responsible. We're made to work. We're designed to function and work. I mean, not necessarily like, you know, oh, go dig ditches every day. It's funny, staying here in Costa Rica doing this work stay thing, I'm like, fuck menial work. And before this, I've had some, you know, jobs where it was similar kind of stuff. So I'm like, I have more, and this, you got to be careful with the Aries Sun, Leo Moon. You can't just be all like, oh, I'm so special. But we have real power and creativity at high levels to offer. And if we don't offer our best, and if you don't take it seriously at some level, take the responsibility, you're not going to break through your limitations. The limitations of failure, the limitations of blockages, the limitations of, you know, that all that kind of stuff, that's there to teach you a lesson to lift up your foot that much higher and walk over it. You're not supposed to just settle, right? And give up and just suck your thumb and say, oh, woe is me. So break through your limits today. Know that you're exactly where you need to be, right? You can actually tap into this and celebrate your individuality and your vision for your future by celebrating where you've even come from and who's been around you on your journey in the responsibility of your dream, right? You didn't get where you are by yourself, and you're not going to end up where you go by yourself, though you're a self in a collective doing it. You have creative responsibilities, right? So even though it doesn't fucking matter, disillusion, right? It kind of dust in the wind, ashes to ashes, it all kind of goes away. We're here to live in the dream fully, to try our best, do our best, to take it seriously, be responsible, to break through our limits, not just to succumb to them and say, well, I'm broken and I can't beat it, right? That's not what we're here to do, even though it doesn't ultimately matter in some abstract way. So if you've enjoyed this, leave a tip. Holler for readings. Cards are $33 for an hour. Astrology is 3 hours for $88. Both, so it's like 4 or 5 hours is $111. I've only got 5-star reviews, so you know you get quality. And not just talk. I think that I do this for myself, but I think you guys enjoy it too, so I'm appreciative of anybody who's tipped and anybody who views. Thank you for your time and energy, and I hope that you're getting something out of this, or else you probably wouldn't show up all the time. So I do appreciate that. Check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We have one scheduled today with Rion, Rion, but he hasn't responded. Or he saw my message but didn't respond, so he's on the docket, but I don't know if he's actually going to show up, so we might have a podcast with him today. I don't know. But this week we've got Devin Dewar. She's an angel intuitive coming on. That's Thursday. I forget who Wednesday is, but we've got great podcasts. Check it out. We've had Rupert Sheldrake on, Richard Rudd. He did Gene Keys. Rupert Sheldrake was like, he does morphogenetic fields. He was Terrence McKenna's friend. We've had Stacy DeMarco on. He did this deck and many 20 other decks. We've had a bunch of cool people on. Normal people too, not just like, famous mystics or whatever. So check out the podcast. Leave a tip if you want. Holler for a reading. I love giving readings, so you'll enjoy it too. And I ultimately have a beautiful Tears Day, right? Ruled by tears. Be very creative and tap into the abundance that's all around, but it is your responsibility to break through, take the world by storm and cash in, right? Like make value, right? Create value. Be responsible, even though it doesn't ultimately matter. Sorry about the noise. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Adios.